What's up guys, my name is Archon and the new Styanax Prime just got released. And this video fixes the main problem. We can't have max energy, max overguard, or max damage at the same time. Or can we? Stay tuned for this and I'll quickly showcase how this build works. To even understand the build and the subsequent gameplay, let's take a look at his abilities first. First off, his passive, really basic but really interesting. What his passive does, we get extra critical chance on all our weapons based on how much shields we have. As a general reference, every 1000 shield give us 25%. When our shields go down and they are depleted, we have no extra crit chance. If they go back up to the current standings, we'll always get what we currently have as shield, and this is doubled for spear guns like his signature, the Aphentis. Styanax's one Axis Javelin is an interesting ability. What it does, when you throw it, it will impale a target between you and it can impale a target between you and the wall. That's the problem, it can. If you hit the javelin kind of in the ground or too far away from the target's hitbox, like it has a little bit of leeway, it won't do a big pull. So how it works, as soon as I hit an impale, all the targets get pulled. It's based on his range, so in low range it's not that crazy, and if you see like here in this clip, if I hit the ground, nothing really gets pulled. How we'd fix this kit created weakness is with Axis Javelineers, an augment mod where we have 2 clones created to the left and right of us, where we're hitting 3 javelins in the ground or anywhere else, and they all have their separate pull. It's a decent AoE grouping, but my honest review and problem with this ability and also with the augment mod is, you don't have an amazing augment here, and you don't have an amazing ability, and we're just kind of wasting a slot and resources on something that isn't great. Styanax's 2, we have Thera Strike. Thera Strike is an amazing ability, just also because it's his Helminth subsume. So if we subsume Styanax, we get this ability, and you can put it on anyone. The cool thing about this is a knockback armor strip. Even though it sends it out like in a half circle in front of you, it's actually a pretty good 360 armor strip. If you have enough enemies near you, you actually put it out in almost a 360 range. And what it does, you can also hit it on acolytes. So most armor strips like Netracells Terrify won't work on acolytes. This one does, and with the augment mod, it's even more insane. So what the augment mod Thera's Lethality does is if you hit Thera Strike on targets, you're doing 100 extra critical damage to these targets, and it doubles for spear guns. And this 100 critical damage isn't capped, it scales off your strength, so you can hit 200, 300, 400 and then double that and give it to the next guy with the spear guns. Now pay close attention to his third ability, Rally Point, because Rally Point is absolutely nuts and it's totally stacked. The main thing you do, you activate it and it draws in enemy attention. So far so good. But what you get on top is you get energy just regen, it scales off a strength, and then you get extra shield refresh. It counts for you and your allies, you get your shield back, you get a bunch of energy, and it casts in a normal 30-meter radius for the enemies affected. Scale with duration, scales with strength, scales with range, and it's absolutely ridiculous. In the back here showcasing that we're getting a ton more of enemy attention, because usually, maybe you figured this out, when you're moving around shooting stuff, not all enemies are always shooting at you. They're sometimes shooting at your pet, your allies, they're sometimes just standing and not shooting at all, just so you can keep that in mind. His 4th is gonna be the bread and butter for this build, and you've seen showcases of the build throughout this video in the background, and it's absolutely nuts. I've seen mixed opinions on this ability, but it's what this build is gonna be laid out on. How this works, let me try to explain this in a decent way. You're creating a bunch of clones next to you, and this counts for each clone. You will be throwing 30 javelins with 12 per second. This is just based on the basic duration. This can be scaled off duration and also with range. And what you'll be doing, you'll be throwing these javelins, and then each one of them will hit with slash. It has a 50% chance of causing a direct hit, and each of those will explode in blast damage. So absolutely nuts. And of course, if enemies are close together, they'll be hit with multiple and then multiple from other targets. Absolutely nuts. So in the background, I'm showcasing a few of the movement tech with this build, and this is just going to be max efficiency. Just that you see this, you can cast it, you can 360 around, and you're just basically floating. You can go forwards, backwards, that's a really cool thing. The only thing I don't like a ton with it, if you cast it, and while you're falling, you can't cast it again, so you have to hit the ground and then you can recast. I'll be explaining how you move around with this build in a second, but the main thing you can take away from this is you're going to be jumping upwards every time you want to recast it. This ability also has an Archon mod and it's pretty cool. This is what most of these builds are based on. This is how you get all these crazy Overguard number. Each javelin that hits, and you already noticed we're throwing a ton, will create this Overguard. So from every cast you're getting around on this build, you'll be getting around 1,500 to 2,000 Overguard for yourself, and half of that for your allies within affinity range. Quick little bonus here, this is me with the Aphentis, his signature spear gun. I also farmed for this. And this is without any extras, without Thyrus Strike. And you already see we're not doing tons of extra damage. And I have a little bit of crit chance on through my shields, but we're not doing a ton. And I'm not even using the augment here in a second when I show you how much Thyrus Strike makes a difference. You saw it took us 7 shots or something to get anywhere. So we hit a few Thyrus Strikes, so every target has it, of complete armor strip, and it's just like 2 shots and it's nuked. There's barely any mods on this gun, and everything just gets obliterated. So quick little bonus here, try out the Aphentis, it's pretty cool. So, these are the basics. Let's quickly talk about Arcanes first. This is gonna be super interesting for creating all this Overguard. I'll explain in a section how this works. But this is the radial attack you're putting out. You've maybe seen this on the Frost build or something else, or you've already used this truculence for him. It's gonna be important, such as Molt Augmented. This is the best way we're getting any kind of ability strength on him with a mod or with a arcane. So, for the mods themselves, I'm going with Corrosive Projection here. If you're going to be using the spear gun a ton, or you're going to be using your weapons a ton, you can actually also put Growing Power here. This is just kind of the setup I have here. Here for Cunning Drift or Power Drift, I suggest Cunning Drift just for max range. And then you're going to be running with Overextended and Archon Stretch. Archon Stretch is just a little bonus we're using because we're going to be gaining energy, or we're going to be gaining the Archon Stretch effect through the electric damage from our pet, but it's not essential. You can run normal stretch here. And then we have kind of our non-negotiables are all of these. So for this build, the only one you can get rid of is Umbral Intensify. These seven mods are essential. We're running Intrepid Stand here for the Overguard. And we're really trying, because we're playing no efficiency. So this whole build has to subsume, or it has to subsidize itself. Through having the double cast of Nourish on his 1 and Rally Point, through having those active all the time, we can always spam our 4. The reason why I'm not playing... The reason why I'm not playing Theris Lethality, because we're doing so much damage and we're nuking the room. You've seen it in some of these clips. I'm going to showcase it in the gameplay in a second. That we do not need it. We do not need Theris Strike. Okay, we have an Acolyte coming in. We want to armor strip him. But we're doing so much damage we can deal without, especially if we have decent weapons going with it. The only mod we can get rid of is Umbral Intensify if we want to put this on here. So I'd rather not get rid of Blind Rage, because we don't need any efficiency and we're losing 100 strength. I don't need Transient Fortitude because we don't need the extra ability duration, and we're losing even more strength than if we just take this 44 strength off. If you've made it to this point, make sure to subscribe if you like these kind of build videos, because there's a good chance with the algorithm it will never show you these kinds of videos again. If you want to stay in the loop, click the subscribe. That's all I'm asking for. For his weapons, Aphentis, I also farmed this, his signature weapon. This is just a basic build I'm running on this, nothing too special, nothing too crazy. You can kind of mod it for yourself how you like. Main mods are, you want to have a good fire rate because this weapon is slow, and then you want Prime Firestorm. Anything else you can build how you want. I have this set up on mainly status, and just through Galvanized scoped our crit chance, and here's our damage, and here's some damage. You could even run this with Amalgam, with the Amalgam mod. I don't even have it upgraded. So, but also, since you're nuking the entire room, all of these weapons are just suggestions. I usually always run the Nukor. This is just an example Nukor build. And I run a Zaw. This is an example Zaw build with the Riven. Nothing special, but you can run anything you want. If you're actually struggling with weapons, I recommend the spear gun or just getting the Aventus. It doesn't have to be the prime version. For our pet, you can also run whatever you want. This is just the example why I'm using Archon Stretch, just to milk out a little bit of extra energy. And I have the Null Audit and here Synergize Prospectus, where we're getting that electricity damage proc, and through that we'll have Arcane Stretch on. And then just a few bond mods, nothing too special. And then this weapon, of course, it's modded for some of the electric damage. For Archon Shards, my guys, these are non-negotiable. These two, if you want to nuke like I'm doing here, non-negotiable. Casting speed shards, 2 Tau Forged yellows, and the only other thing that makes sense on him, maybe it's a shard that gives you extra blast damage, or you gain health here, regenerate shields and health, but you don't need this. This would be wasted. That's the only thing that kind of plays into his damage, but we have tons of Overguard. We do not need anything else. So, maximize the strength. I kind of stripped these off my Ember and put the Tau Forged on here. Tau Forged Reds for extra strength. Don't put ability duration on here. You do not need ability duration. If we have infinite energy, we can spam everything. For the focus score, we're going to be running obviously Madurai just for this extra damage. And if we look in here, we're doing the 30% extra damage. That's going to be the essential. And then the Tower on Strike is not going to be too essential. I can even show you the mods here, but it's not ingrained in the kit. You can use this for an Acolyte, you can use this for other bosses, but this is just the basics. So we hopped into a mod survival, the typical, the classic. So when you spawn in, you're gonna have your basics of your Nourish. So we're gonna cast Nourish here, and then you just want to get some kills. Just want to kill these enemies just to refresh a little bit of energy. Your pet will be helping here until you can cast Rally Point. By casting Rally Point here and drawing all the attention on me, I'm maxed out on energy. And now we can spam our 4. We just spam the 4 through the rooms, and you see anytime we hit 3000, so at the markers 3000, 6000, 9000, you see these blue waves, that's gonna be the extra viral damage on everything. So we just keep spamming this. We have to touch the floor, and then we recast it, and we can do this in a big, can even do this in a big 360 here. My Nourish went down. I have to recast this because the Nourish is going to be affecting my Rally Point. You'll see in the middle of the screen how much extra energy I'm gaining anytime I'm hitting the Rally Point Nourish combo, because Rally Point will give us energy back with kills, and Nourish, through all the strength we'll have, will just increase this. Here what happened, I let that go, wasn't paying attention, so I just have it back up, and then you see getting all the energy. Even though I have almost no efficiency, as long as I have 150 to 175 where I can recast my 1, I'll be totally fine. Make sure you're not in the too huge rooms, make sure you're more in these narrow hallways, where when you're casting, it's just all the enemies die in one wave, because what you don't want to be doing is being in these huge rooms where it's really difficult to kill everything at once. You want to be moving through, so Exterminate, amazing with Styanax, and then there's also mission types like, it kind of depends on the map layout, but a survival or a defense can be really good with it. So I just keep recasting that, and then usually I can just spam this without any regards. I just have to kind of check my duration timers. See here, look at all this energy I'm gaining. Just from getting all these kills in the middle of the screen, getting all this energy back, and I'll be totally fine. And this is kind of where Tharus Strike comes into play. If I want to go for all the normal weapon kills, I can do that and just cast it into a big wave. Especially when enemy level goes up, this build is best suited for Steel Path to earlies, but it's not an endless survival build. That's the only thing I kinda have a problem with, is it goes a long way. Like, we can do 60, 90 minutes of survival like this, no issue, but this will not carry us up to level 999. So that's the only thing I don't like too much. So as another point, how does Styanax perform in team missions? This is always the best way to test it, is one of these refractories where we have nuke teammates, we have a drawn out map with the enemies where it's hard to hit everything. But also here, Styanax performs really well. Yeah, sometimes I have to use more of my weapons because my energy economy sometimes might not be great. Here I have the bonus that we have another Styanax in the team. Styanax is basically, with his rally point, he's a support frame. We're getting Overguard from our teammates, we're giving Overguard to our teammates if we have a Styanax here, and we're just buffing the energy, so it's pretty good. On this mission, when you're casting your fork continuously, it works pretty well, and then you sometimes switch into your weapons, but it's super balanced and it's a lot of fun. That's what we have to keep in mind. We're doing these builds because it's fun. I love the kit, I love the whole Spartan mechanics, I love all the abilities, they fit in really well, and I really appreciate this character design. He might be in the run this is from the thumbnail of the video, he might be in the run for one of the best Prime releases this year. Currently, he's my number one. He does everything I need him to do. He has a super fun kit and design, and I'm just having a lot of fun playing this frame. Only problems I kind of have with the frame, but these are summed up throughout the video and also in the ability showcase. His one is pretty useless. It can be kind of fun, but to even utilize this pull, you'd have to have something that nukes on that pull, and if we have a lot of range on the 4, it's basically doing its job. The other thing is, I really like that and I think it's really satisfying and fun, but I do play a lot of frames and have variety in that, is his 4 ability. It can feel like a spam. It can feel like you're playing Dagath and all you're doing is spamming horses. So I can understand that point, and that, especially on this build, you're just having your 1 and 3 up and I keep having to spam, or similar with Nova, keep spamming her 1 and having Nourish up. I can understand that. The other thing is that for him, you kind of have to play him like I'm playing him on almost maximum investment to really get his use out of it, and I seen the complaint, hey, he's not the amazing, because I have tons of Overguard and damage and infinite energy, he's not this amazing, take him to max level, take him to the last part of Steel Path and a 2-hour survival. But how often are you doing a 2-hour survival in a week? Like, he will work in a Netracell if you'd ever need it in Deep Archimedea, he'll work there. So he can do the difficult missions. Like, he works fine on this. This is 165, this is level 165 in the background of the gameplay, and he works. As always, guys, I had an amazing fun time making this video. If you like to see more of this, make sure to subscribe. Also, I made a video on Nidus, another frame that kind of got updated in the same rework patch. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks, guys.